we'll make it as if like nothing, like we missed absolutely nothing. Alright, so looks like we're actually going to be fine. So, welcome, we're actually back in the same game room. It's 1v1, it's a hand war of course, but it's something I was actually quite interested in as soon as one of the team games finished up. Nicov is playing a 1v1, and I was like, I've got to see a game of this, and Dracont's also playing too, so good to see what he's going to be up to in this game. So in the blue we got Nicov here, it's a hand war as I just said. And we'll have a little quick look at the map so far. For Nicov, it's looking relatively decent. Just going to quickly knock the scroll speed down a little bit. It's also quite loud. Alright, that should be okay now. Break down the maps. Back woodline it's got going on too. It's got this main stone just behind that woodline once more. And it's very far away, I would like to add. To me, this is quite far away in terms of where the TC location is and where the actual berries is located. It's kind of a weird spot if you ask me. It's nothing like much impeding it, it's because it's uphill, and when we later go into the game and scouts will start to come out potentially or anything like that, then it does leave these berry villagers quite vulnerable because the downhill attacks from the scouts could do quite a lot of damage. He is going to put the mill on this side, which is fair enough because he has to be nice and defensive. And we already see a Dracont looking to try and lame something here, or maybe potentially. Yeah, the scout. I'll have a little bit of a close eye on that in just a second, but I'm going to just cover the rest of the map here. To the right of the TC, but Nicov has got his main gold on it, which is quite nice. He's also got his cliff area where the woodline is up top, which is, again, he can wall off relatively easy. And you can also put a TC something like here, and again, that'll be nice coverage. It will cover this TC in terms of any knights or whatever cavalry just want to try and come on through. So like in pretty decent range, and it will of course get some wood and gold at the same time. Dracont Scout looking like it's failed to achieve much. It hasn't looked like it's got anything in particular of value. The board at the back here was just a little bit too safe for him to try and think about taking. You can see Nicov amazingly didn't get the loom. I mean, if you see your opponent's scout like that, I would probably think, okay, I need to get loom when I'm luring his build, no matter where it's been. And anyway, the second goal being a little bit far to the north, the rest of it, it's not too shabby. I mean, it's got a bit of a cliff edge, a little bit far away, but it's quite a nice base considering it's a humble world. Again, these little cliff areas are allowing him probably to make some nice walls later on, especially for this mid to late game when you start to expand out the map and start to try and take some control. It will really help for that mid game onwards to get some stone walls or whatever just to protect your base. That's what I think anyway. And Nicov's going to get loom. Anyway, let's go to Dracont here. He's in the playing in the red. And well, you've already seen the scout trying to look for a lame of sorts. Nikov's just having his scout already coming over to to Dracont's base, scouting up maybe a Drash or something. But it's not going to be happening. It's looking all pretty standard stuff. Dracont, meanwhile, though, his map's got a very nice back gold. I mean, that's lovely, considering, again, just an easy set of palisades down here, and it's all good. He's even got his second gold in a not too far away from the main gold, and again, towards the back of the base, which is absolutely lovely. However, his biggest concern that he does, like, for sure have is his woodline. Because he hasn't got any real back woodlines. He's got a woodline to the right of the TC, but the one he's taking is on the front where his main stone is. And the other one, another woodline not being far away from that either. So it does leave him to be a little bit exposed. Any towers or even any pressure coming in on top of that would mean that, again, it just leaves him a little bit vulnerable. He needs to make sure that he builds his buildings on the front, like in front of the woodline, and that should hopefully try and hopefully try and help him allow to just basically protect the woodline, in all honesty. If you could even try and you can get this wall up down here, that would be even better, because it will just shield a lot of the woodline in this section I'm drawing out. But he's going to put the barracks down here, pretty much where I thought he might actually put it, because he, again, you want to protect this woodline of all costs. A few later coming in right now, Dracont's running into the TC. Oh god, Dracont, no! That was a big mistake, and that scout again's going to go down, because he's not in feudal age. Oh, what was he? He must have clicked something, and that just did not go well. And look at this from Nicov as too. He is going very, putting 3 on the stable, wants to get up nice and sharp. Hello to you, Foghorn. How you doing, buddy? Weather's absolutely gorgeous outside. I was out earlier, but that was to do shopping. But It was lovely outside. I like to comment the weather as we stream, but it is something to note because it's going through my window right now, the sun. Could try to probably blind me in a bit. So Nicov now with a 1 scout advantage already. His original scout's taken 0 damage, so it's going to be a real pest. It's going to start hitting this wood line, annoy the villagers. I'll expect a couple of spearmen. One's already out, clearly. But one, just maybe 1 or 2 just on this wood line itself, because it is very close to the berries too. So once again, you know, 2 spearmen will just do quite a, decent amount of protection. As 2 scouts from Nicov try to come in now and start harassing. I like this from Nicov. And normally you probably see 3 scouts and then harassing, but which the 3rd scout's now arriving, but he starts to try and do that chip damage on that villager. Now there's a little bit of a scout engagement once more. The 3rd scout comes in really good time and focuses down. Well, yet another one. Dracont has just lost 2 scouts in a row without getting a single trade-off. Brilliant work from Nicov. And yes, the military is 4-4, but there is that spearman, the 2 spearmen from Dracont, and none from Nicov. He is so confident at this point, and I don't blame him. I mean, if you've got, you know, a 2 scout lead currently, it's very hard for you to sort of give it up so easily, especially for a player like Nicov who, it will just solidify the position nicely, and he will just cling to this hill, constantly be around it, and it will force Dracont to be very defensive at this point. It's even time to wall up this section. See, this is where I'm not a big fan of this walling here from Dracont. I get it, it's not bad, it's just that if he just did it, a little bit earlier, like along here, would be much better. Or even here, I don't know. How's it going, Nobody 41? Hello to you too. So Nicov having a huge scout advantage. Yes, a couple of them are fairly weak, but you're up 6 against 3. It's kind of nice. Yes, there are also a couple of spearmen in there too, which does make it a little bit dangerous. He's gonna. It could all still turn though. That's the thing. It could all. But the thing is though, Nicov gonna get the bloodlines. I like this choice. Hi Zyxa, cutie. That's original. I like it. Cutie. If only people said that to me in real life. Alright, the scout's coming through now to the back of the base. Just gonna dive that TC, I think just as bloodlines came in. Yes, it was. It is a little bit delayed on the actual timer on the research tab, but it's gonna get in right now, pick off 1 bill. Good job there, but has tanked, I will be honest, quite a lot of TC fire. Dracont is keeping his scouts just outside Nikov's base, probably just trying to sort out his own issues back at home. And yeah, it picks yet another vill. He hasn't lost a single scout yet. Nicov is just playing like an absolute boss. And Dracont, again, he's running into the TC once more. He's getting caught out by, I think, all these distractions from Nicov. And once again, loses 2 scouts to the TC. He has lost, I believe, if I'm correct, about 5 scouts. Hasn't killed a single villager. Hasn't killed a single scout from Nicov, as far as I'm aware. This couldn't be any better, really, of a dream start in this sort of format. But he will go up this hill, but into the path of 3 spearmen. Fortunately, doesn't attack the weaker scout, it seems. Oh, okay, 1 now finally does go down for Nicov. Nicov needs to sort of get out of here. It's not the best place for him to be right now, but he could get a little bit trapped here into a corner because it's all been pretty much walled off. And yeah, oh god, this is not good for Nicov. He's going to lose everything here. He's going to try and at least trade up as best he can. Maybe pick up. Oh, he picks up another villager. Beautiful. And now with Dracont sending all his scouts back, they have not got bloodlines, however, so they can still take the rest of these down. Oh wow. Okay. Oh, Nicov, you're going to get out with those 3 scouts. There's no way you can get out with that being up. Oh, wow, 3 stables coming down from. Oh, okay. Okay, Dracont's going to try something a little bit unorthodox. I wasn't expecting 3 stables from Dracont. Is he? Yeah, he's just going to go full scouts. But he does need to get the bloodlines, the armor upgrade, and pump from 3 stables. And he's only able to just get the bloodlines and not pumping. I don't feel like this economy is big enough to sustain 3 scout production at this point. He's going to have to stop production for sure. to get all the upgrades that he needs. He needs to get 300 food just to get the forging and the scale binding armor before we even think about pumping scouts at the same time. Because what's the point really of getting the upgrades if you don't have any army? It's kind of like why? Like if you go for the upgrades first and then go for the army, you do leave yourself to be vulnerable to Nicov. What's Nicov up to right now? Well, he's doing it fairly standard. He's got 3 rangers down, to put the 4th down as he goes up to the castle edge. And this should be go time for Dracont. He needs to start, literally, he needs to have double the army, I think, at this point. And he needs to be right in the face of Nikov's base. However, the good thing for Nicov is that he should have seen this one coming, because when his scout decided to raid, he should have seen the structures and realized that he's going to go for some sort of big scout play. So this is what he's doing, like 4 rangers just starting to spam out all those archers. And he's going to keep him into his base at this point. It's, again, fairly easy to defend once again, so I'm curious. But here comes Dracont. It's going to come on the other side, I think. Looks like Nikov's going to get out of position here because he sends his archers out as these scouts go straight into this wood line. Quick walling in from Nicov. Can he get it done? Yes, he does. And Dracont once more has to bail out here. It looks like he scouts out the archers coming forward here from Nicov. This is probably maybe his best chance to do some good damage because this archers with... Yeah, he's got that +1 armor now on the bloodlines. I think he has enough scouts here to actually take this fight. He's going to get the wheelbarrow as Nicov enters into the castle age. Oh, here we go. Can he get the good fight? He's struggling to get a decent position. He loses already a couple of scouts in this process, but now he's actually in the thick of it. The armor upgrade and the bloodline's doing some super good work, and that's it. Nicov just got to run home. He's going to lose a lot of archers here. He will be in a castle age, however, which is a big plus. And he's going to try and kite this back, hopefully try and get the crossbow and the bodkin arrow at a good time, but it's not going to be the case. Looks like all the archers will go down to these scouts. That's a big win there for Dracont. It might have bought him enough time. Maybe. Just maybe. And I think it looks like Nicov just cancelled the crossbow upgrade in good time, I would say, because he lost everything, so there's no need to have that upgrade. And yeah, I do also question why he went out. Maybe he was thinking a little bit overconfident, perhaps. But nonetheless, Dracont's going to start coming in straight underneath this TC once more. A lot of scouts. He's going to start trying to hit Nikov's base. TC is coming up, could get denied, but also now a couple of spearmen getting into the mix here with a few cav archers. Trying to focus on the spearmen first before going to the villagers. The villagers will bail out and it will be safe. Cav archers and the spearmen are doing good. Wow, even a forward spear comes up from Dracont, but that just gets absolutely destroyed. The gold is now a little bit exposed as the scouts not coming in. They're very tanky, and these cav archers just... They aren't at that critical mass yet, and this is a good response from Nicov, however. Get a knight out, because that's much better at man fighting this than cav archers at this point. At this point, anyway. Just needs to get a little bit more. And he will do eventually. He's got 4 rangers. His wood is now relatively safe, but... Oh, saying that though, here comes a little bit of an over-chop situation, and the scouts now come on through. Looks like the knight's going to try and take care of something here, but there will be a few scouts picking up a couple of vills here. Very nice job. And all this while, this continuing pressure on Nikov's base has allowed Dracont to go up, and the vill counts 45 to 44. And yes, the military maybe not at that, you know, a bit of an imbalance. You know, Nikov's got 17 to Dracont's 3. But Dracont, he must be going for a big stable play. Yes, he's still making more scouts to get in the light cav option. I like that play. You can't just stop production military, especially when someone's already up ahead of you for quite some time and going for this cav archer route as well. And the light cavs will be a decent option at this point. I like it. Okay, so now it looks like Nikov's going to start entering in towards Dracont's base. But the problem with Dracont he's got a huge farming eco. Love it. However, not a lot defending it. And that's, I think, a slight flaw there. He probably should have got a couple of towers. One here, maybe one here as well. He must have been on stone. Oh, he's going to lose all these scouts before the castle age kicks in. It's just a little bit too late. And yeah, Dracont just called it GG. He was just a little bit too far behind. that's just the unfortunate thing. That's the sort of thing that happens though. If you're committing yourself into 3 stables, you have to know that you're going to most likely in these cases be up later. Especially in Dracont's case, where he lost 5 or 6 scouts so early on, and Nicov didn't lose anything. He didn't lose a single unit until like the 18-minute mark, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. And yeah, like even though Nicov killed 10 units more than he lost, but it doesn't really fully reflect the game. I feel just a tad. But Dracont put a good effort in. I still feel like he tried to recover. He had to go for that play. I don't blame him for that play, because when you're that far behind, I think you're just going to have to do something a little bit wild. And going sometimes 3 stables like that can do it. It's just he was that little step behind, and it's just so difficult to recover. Your opponent has to make a lot of mistakes. In all fairness, I feel Nicov made only one sort of, not a big mistake, but it was a mistake, and it was to send those archers out before the castle age kicked in, and before the upgrades started coming in and through as well. And he got caught out completely by the scouts. He tried to man fight it, then realized what the upgrades were, and he had to try and go back, and lost everything before all the upgrades pretty much kicked in. So that's unfortunate there for Nicov. I think the only reason why I think he did that was that he was just very confident in his position. I don't blame him. He had an amazing start to the feudal age, basically. He was in the driver's seat. He just, maybe took one hand up the wheel and was like, oh, okay, maybe not a good idea. Let's just reset and take it from there. Because once he saw the mass scouts, he knew that it would be very unlikely that Dracont will be up until like the 26-minute, maybe 25, 26-minute mark at best. And it was actually 27 minutes or close to 28 before Dracont even hit it. So it was just a little bit late for Dracont, that's all. But anyway, we're going to bring into a game 2 as we are loading ourselves in. And let's see what Dracont can, I don't say perform better than he did last game. There we go. It's a bit weird, sorry. It just I think he just needs to maybe slightly focus a little bit more on the early feudal age. It's very tough though, and I'm not saying like I'm any better player at all. I just think that's how I observed it from last game. But it's a whole new game. It's still a hard war, but hopefully the generation map may be in his good favor, and it looks a little bit like that's going to be the case, because I am looking at Nicov right now as who's playing in the blue. Oh boy, this is a bad map, generally speaking, I feel. I mean, if you look at it, very far up the TC is his main gold and his second gold on this hill, which is going to be a problem itself to try and deal with. There's a wood line to the next bit, so if he could tower this position, maybe he can actually lumber camp here and be maybe just about okay. His berries are to the front of the TC, close enough to a very small wood line because it's just dominated by a huge oasis with a cheeky shorefish. And then, of course, to the back end of the map, he does have another wood line that's quite far away, I would add, where his main stone is not too far from. But he does have a cliff there, and again, another wood line not too far away. So he could easily wall these 2 sections up, which I think he might do, is putting his lumber camp down here. I think that's probably the safest option, I do feel. And then we'll probably wall off these sections and make it fairly safe. So it's not the worst map I've ever seen, but it is pretty bad. The gold is a real sticking issue, I feel, for him. He's going to have to make sure he keeps that protected. I would most likely see a tower on his gold at some point in the game from Nicov, unless he does something like a forward of all sorts. So, meanwhile, though, we'll have a look at Dracont's base, and I was talking about a good map for Dracont, and this is pretty darn decent. He's got back wood line to go to, he's got back gold on the top of that, and again, he can just TC on the back of this sort of wood line where the secondary gold is, and that's really nice for him. So there's plenty of wood. Double deer patch, in fact, not too far away from his TC. I'd like to add on that. Woodlines to the front where his main stone is, and then of course his main gold is being to the right of the TC, a little bit into the wood, squished into the wood line, which does make the saturation somewhat difficult. Because, of course, you really want to get onto that gold, clearly. It's okay for now, for the feudal age, maybe the early castle age. But when we get to that mid-castle age, I would probably see the second TC coming up here, and of course, second and third TCs come up here and here. And that's okay. That should alleviate the issue. So it's not end of the world. It could have been a lot worse. And to round it all up, another wood line that's That's going to close off this section. Very nice for him. Where's also his third... Oh, for God's sake. He's got his third gold there. And again, if he wants to put another TC there later on, he can do so and be safe with wood and gold. This is actually a very nice map in comparison to Nikov's. The only thing that there's a slight issue, I would admit, for Dracont is the fact that he's in a creative position. Which does mean that if he loses a lot of map control, Nikov's got a lot of vantage points to take use of. Just, you know, put forward siege workshops on or just camp cab archers on top. And that's it. Like, you're pretty good. That's all you need to do. So it'll be interesting how it will play out. I expect Dracont to play quite standard. Nicov, I wouldn't blame if he goes for a 40. He's even going to bring that second boar in a tad late. It's not the end of the world, but yeah, you really want to get that nice efficiency Dark Age. It's not that really late. It's fine, you know. If it was his first boar, and that might have been an issue if he only had like 49 food, because I have that problem a lot. I always have that problem. It's like 49 food, you don't want to kill another sheep, and then the next boar's, or so the first boar's coming in, you're just like, oh for God's sake. If only I sent that villager out 10 seconds earlier or so, or 5 seconds earlier, it would have been fine. A bit of a scout war going on between the both players. Tell me about your breakfast. I had a bacon sandwich. Wow, Nicov committed fully into that. It doesn't mean that Dracont Scout's very weak at 3 HP, but it's still there. So he's just going to start pushing in some deer. Nice for him. Nicov, though, will be going up to the feudal edge first, in fact. He's going up very early, 19 pop up. Wow, okay. Well, we've been 20 pop up, of course, but 19 pop it is. He's sending 4 villagers far out. Oh, hello. This is what I was talking about. No, I'm actually not obese. I'm like very much the opposite. I'm actually a little bit underweight, so bacon sandwiches are the cure for being underweight. I wouldn't say that actually. Like my doctor or whatever would just be literally scathing at me, like, how dare you say bacon sandwiches? All that cholesterol, but it's so worth it, right? So 4 villagers are now going to start coming up forward. They are going to put, yeah, the barracks coming down here. I did sort of, I don't want to say I predicted it, but I did say that it was kind of likely. He's going to put a couple of tiles back this forward barracks, and I'm amazed this is also happening because he lost his scout, so, and Dracont is still alive, so. I mean, he could have easily scouted out this forward, but he's not going to because he's been pushing these deer all this time. It's not looking so good. Archer range is going to be coming down first. His barracks is going to start pumping out some spearmen, but he doesn't have to really do it just yet because... Okay, might as well now, but Dracont's not even up to the feudal age yet. He will spot the forward now with the scout, and this does mean that Dracont will be able to react to this. He'll be able to just put down archer range himself straight away. Could he get this barracks tonight? Oh, so close. Just in the last second that Dracont finished. If he denied that barracks at 98%, I feel like the game just could have been over just then a little bit. Dracont would either have to just start mass bill rushing to that barracks, or I don't know. Pretty much a mass bill rush would do. So archer range response does come down from Dracont, and a huge bill, like just a huge bill pile up right now as he just sends in like 10 bills to build a tower and try and deal with this forward. There's a couple of skirms, a couple of spears getting into the mix at this point. The tower will come up from both players, but that has a slight high ground advantage, which is nice to see, but it's going to get focused down immediately by these villagers. One bill does go down there from Dracont. Nikov's going to lose this tower very quickly. Is he on stone? No, he isn't, so no more towers will be able to come up. But likewise, coming out from Dracont, no other towers. And that will protect the barriers, and we will pick off one build. This forward has not paid out at all. Well, here for Nicov, oh boy. He may be one bill up currently, but again, he did commit 3-4 bills forward to this. And that's going to help alleviate a lot of pressure there for Dracont. So he should be able to start maybe walling up some sections that might seem a little bit vulnerable, but he's not going to at this point. And now Nikov's going to go for the wraparound with these spears and skirms and start poking and prodding at this wood line. Dracont should be a little bit mindful when he sees this coming in. You will see the poke and prod him. You could always just charge these units down, but again, it would just add a lot of TC times. You might just go and put them inside a TC and then retask them to the slumber line at the back. Meanwhile, it's like Nicov built the mine. That's a very bold mining camp because like you have no certainty that you're able to mine that freely without any harass of sorts. You will go back to it. Like that is ballsy because, oof, blimey. Dracont's gold over here, and he's also got a back gold back here as well, so he's very safe against his forward. I would feel very confident. We're also seeing now a stable being dropped down here by Nicov with these 3 bills. Does Dracont see it? He should. Oh, he does see it. Okay, he sees the stable coming up right now. I'll start to see probably soon some spearmen coming up. So right now the skirm wars are beginning. I will admit though, Dracont does have a bit of an issue when it does come to his food economy. He still has a fair amount of food and those berries to go to, and yet he's tasking a lot of bills to wood here. Very surprising. He needs to start getting those farms up, for sure. Okay, now he is, but he's suffering, I feel, a little bit. He's not making any more units coming out from those archery ranges. He's not making any spearmen either. Now starting to see some scouts coming on through. Without any spear protection, the again, a little bit vulnerable. Okay, spear now immediately comes out. There are a few skirmishes, but not enough to be sort of concerned about here right now for an great spear hit there. It's like a 1-for-1 trade on the scouts, but definitely more value coming out there for sure for Dracont. And now they're going to start a little fight here. The villagers from Nicov are going to try and get involved. Now this spearman is still alive, 9 HP. Going to start zoning out this scout cavalry as the rest of skirmishers here from Dracont are picking off these small little stragglers. The scouts will go back for a wraparound, but in comes yet another spearman, and this is not working out at all for Nicov. He doesn't go for the second archery range and pops out a stable to try and basically outmaneuver, really, Dracont. But this hasn't worked. I think it's too risky, that was, to go for the stable. Now, Dracont is so confident, in fact, it's going to try and start walling up this stable and the archery range combined. And the spearman, yeah, it's getting more jabs. Oh, this is so well played by Dracont. In fact, he's holding off this forward very well. Villagers-wise, though, yep, Dracont is now 3 up on the bill counts, and he's also, again, ahead of military. Scouts are looking to poke and prod. The spearman will come in to try and help out, and yes, Nicov will back away. Maybe we can try and pick off the bills that are trying to wall it up. Yes, they are. The lack of mobility from Dracont is sort of showing here. Oh, it does pick off that villager. Good job there. At least he's trying to get something out of it. Does pick off that bill. That one bill from Dracont just clicks to try and run away and hits the barracks instead. It's like, whilst I'm waiting for this, I will jab. Slowly but surely, this barracks will go down. There's good mobility from these scouts. I mean, he's microing fairly well. He has just lost another one, but he's going to try and pick this bill off as another trade. Does get the job done, but will lose, all his scouts. He looks like an archer has come out, so, yep, he's on the gold, and plenty of it too. I like this transition. He's a lot more confident in his position, so yes, let's just start moving up the skirmishes and start getting onto those gold units. Bank up that food. Get maybe a blacksmith down. Get the fletching upgraded in. There we go. There's that blacksmith I was talking about being put down there from Dracont. Now, what is Nikov's... yep, there we go. There's that tower right now from Nicov I was talking about. And there's gold. Some... that is... I'm stumbling here because I am yet to understand the point of this palisade. I guess it provides some sort of cover to the farmers, but okay, I'm just gonna move away from that. That's the most puzzling thing I've ever seen from Nicov in a long time. It might have just been a misclick. So anyway, meanwhile though, Dracont will start pushing up with his units. 19-2 in the military. Now Nikov's going to start getting some towers in his own base to protect himself. There's also another villager that wants to try and chop this tree on the other side of the oasis. It's a bit unfortunate there for Nicov. And it even might get picked up here. Nicov is though going to be the first to advance up to the castle age. All that pressure in terms of the food economy for Dracont has meant that he's probably a little bit delayed clicking up. He isn't too far, however. Just needs to get maybe a drop off of those bills and we'll be good. That's all he needs to do. I'm also amazed that he hasn't walled in the archer range. He's walled in everything else. Like the stable, but not the barracks, not the archer range, just the stable. Perhaps he doesn't want to waste his time, that's fair enough. Meanwhile though, he's just going to pick that bill off that was trying to chop this lumber. That poor bill. Now we're going to see a stable coming down from Nicov. Bloodline's castle edge coming up, so it's going to be pretty much heavy knights coming out from him. He has got a decent enough food economy. The gold is fairly safe as well. Even palissading around it so that archers can't camp underneath it. You can see a second stable now. But Dracont will look to try and pick off some vills. I think the best he can. He's going to try and start poking and prodding. But of course, very difficult when you've just got mainly a skirm army. Not so good at killing villagers, I feel. I think it's kind of lame. You know, I don't blame Nicov for doing it. His map isn't so good. He has to sort of try and... He can't really probably try and contest it in the scout war, so he's going to do what he does and goes for a forward. And he's now going to be up first. Two stables going to be start pumping out those knights. Dracont isn't too far away himself. You also other thing to mention, I think, a little bit here. Oh no, he has power. Okay, this was actually smart there from Dracont. He didn't. He decided to, of course, palisade this sort of gap between the archer range and the stable, because he could have just walled around it most of it, and then and what Nicov could have done was just delete the archer range. That was quite nice. So yeah, Dracont's still in a good position. He's got the crossbow bodkin coming in right now. He's surrounding Nikov's base, so Nikov's got to try and deal with this. And yes, he is. He's got the knights trying to clean up those archers and the oasis and everything else, and there's also a bit of a slight wood issue because again he's just camping as small units, just being a real pain because the tower's not covering it either. Just gonna deal with that. That will definitely buy Dracont a lot of time, and Dracont's feeling pretty aggressive. He's gonna start coming out forward. He's gonna get the padded archer armor clearly. And I'm also thinking, has he gone to stone himself? No, he hasn't. So okay. So Dracont will be just on 1 TC for now. He might get a market down and buy the stone, or will mine it himself. Probably best to mine it. He might even use those idle cav archers in the tower just to get rid of the mining camp. Dracont also getting the bloodlines. And here comes those crossbows we're talking about. But I don't think that's enough. Really, there's... Wow, he deletes those two passes. Okay, cool. This could be a little bit of a trap here, and I think, yeah, Dracont sort of smells this trap coming out right now. It's like, I am not going to contest this, so I'm going to go back out. Let me go sort of towards into the oasis. Yep, and just be nice and safe there. What is Nikov's response at this point? TC? 43-46. The scores, yes, Dracont does have a much larger army. However, the vills are okay. But Nicov is definitely not out of this. He has committed himself, though, to this sort of night rush with the +1 bloodlines done. Something that is definitely, I feel, a little bit on the clock. And what I mean by this being on the clock is that once you get the cav archers up at this sort of critical mass, and it looks like Nicov says GG. Yeah, I think that's a decent call. Like the cav archers are also trying to raid the main gold. He's got no map control, and the night rushes is just not going to work. He was probably banking on maybe the forward doing more damage to the food economy than he thought. But I fully sorry I didn't check the achievements. My apologies. But in all honesty, I understand why he went for the forward. I did say at the beginning that his map isn't that great, and probably calls for a forward play. It's just that the stable option that he did was a very high risk maneuver because, yes, if Dracont did not have scouted that out, he would have been completely in like a lot of trouble because once Nicov got the 4 scouts, he would have just taken care of all the skirmishes and just put a lot more pressure onto those builds. Because the rest of his builds were just sort of poking and... sorry, not the rest of his builds. The rest of his skirmishes were just sort of poking and prodding at them. And Dracont just didn't care. He's like, okay, I'll just move my builds a little bit around and try and defend with the rest of my skirmishes. So that it kind of backfired quite badly. Because once he saw it, Dracont was like, let's just start spamming out spears. And because he was only on 1 archery range, he just didn't have enough skirmishes to deal with the spearmen coming out. Because they were getting picked off by Dracont's own skirmishes. And it's also very difficult because they've got ballistics, of course, clearly, because it's still the feudal age. So it's very difficult to target, them when they're moving. But anyway, it's going to go into another game. Dracont and Nicov are now